Today, I'm going to be ranking all the new NHL uniforms that are going to be on the ice this season. And I've even made myself a nice tier chart, as you see here, to go along with it with some of the uniforms that we'll be talking about. So let's start with the teams that kind of announced their new uniforms around the draft, before the draft, around that time. We're going to start with the NHL's newest team, the Utah Mammoth. Obviously, they had their fan poll where they were selecting a name. Everyone kind of wanted Yeti, but due to legal reasons, they had to go with the Mammoth. And this is what they came up with this year. Obviously, it's the striping is the exact same as last year. I kind of thought the striping was going to be tests for what they could do, because each type of striping on both their jerseys are different. So I thought that that's what they were going with, depending on which they liked more. They were going to choose that one, but they said, you know what, let's just keep the same uniform. Obviously, there's some changes with the collar design from last year and whatnot, but the major thing is the logos. Now, yes, the away did have that slanted Utah wording from last year, but this year it's in their new font and also italicized as well. So, you know, that's almost basically the same, and they just added the logo shoulder patch to the jersey, so that one didn't change too much. And then we go on to the home, which includes that logo, that beautiful logo that they made, and to me it's one of the best in the league already, along with the Utah State outline logo kind of on the shoulders. I really do like that logo. I think it's great, and I really like that home uniform now that it has an actual logo on it. To be honest with you, I did not think that they were going to go back with the word mark on the away. I thought since their logo was so good they were going to put it on both, but they didn't. To be honest, I would have done that since it's such a good look. But I'll have to say, for this uniform, I really like the logo. I really like what they've done with their branding. Although I still don't like the 4 different stripes on the uniform. I think it's a bit weird. It's like they didn't know which one to choose, so they just said, screw it, let's go with all of them. I'm just gonna keep this jersey at a B, maybe more of a B+. I think it's good. They probably could have done better though with these, and so I'm gonna go with a B for Utah's uniforms. All right, so the next team on my list is the Boston Bruins, who also kind of released their uniforms around draft time, and they hinted at this look a few years ago during their centennial season with their centennial home and away, bringing back that old B logo, as well as last year they had that centennial game that they wore that jersey on that was basically the same as what they just have now. A few changes though to that. I'm happy they did this. I want to hear some fans' opinions about this, because I feel like I've never really heard someone say I really like the old Bruins uniforms compared to what they have now going forward. I personally did not like them. They're Reebok age uniforms and I know the Bruins won a Stanley Cup in them, but I just never really liked them. The home was okay. I just found the away just looked so busy for some reason. I just couldn't, get around to saying I liked it. But this, I really do. Does the NHL have a problem right now with teams going back to retro looks? I think so, but if you're able to modernize it in a certain way, it works out all right. This just kind of seems a bit more just bringing back the retro look. Yes, there's some changes to the Bruins, branding that they're doing. I feel like the Bruins maybe could have gone a different way than this, but overall, still 2 solid uniforms here. If I had to rank them, I'd probably say they're actually both A uniforms in my opinion, just because they look clean, they look solid, and I think it will look really good on the ice compared to the old jerseys. Now over to St. Louis, where the Blues have done basically the exact same thing as the Bruins. They've gone retro. Now these 2 uniforms, especially their home, they've used many times before in retro looks over the last few years, especially outdoor games and whatnot, but they've now gone away from Reebok trying to make the 2000s uniforms look good to Fanatics trying to make the 1960s jerseys look good. But these are solid. I think these are fantastic. From what I could understand is I believe Blues fans really do like that light blue look over what they had. They're still going to use their old home as the alternate for this year, just to what I think is kind of a push to sell them a bit more so they can just get rid of the rest of them off the shelves. I have 2 problems with this uniform, however. Number 1 is the home. They've just kind of slapped the regular logo on there. What I'd probably rather want is to have a white outline around that logo. Just having the blue and yellow bit of the logo on there, it still looks solid, it will still look clean, you'll still be able to tell what the logo is, but without a white outline, I kind of feel like I'm gonna lose it by watching the games or watching them wear it in games. So I'll have to see how it fully looks on the ice. And another thing too is the classic one color block lettering. For the away, I don't mind it because it's blue on white. For the home, just to have it as yellow, I feel like, again, that's a bit more of a risk. If you look back at what these jerseys were designed off of, they actually had both yellow and white lettering. It was more full yellow but with a white outline. So I wish they kind of maybe incorporated that a bit more than what they chose. But overall, these two jerseys I think are going to be really solid. I think they're going to be really clean on the ice going forward. I'll have to see what I think about the home logo and as well as the lettering and the number color on the uniforms as well, but I'd still say these are solid uniforms. I'll give them an A. Now into the final uniform that was released on draft day, the Chicago Blackhawks, who are celebrating their 100th anniversary in the league. I guess you can call this a new uniform. If you're not into uniforms or don't really care about how they look, you'd probably just say this just looks like the regular home, and you'd basically be right. The only changes are the gold outline around the logo. The numbers on the back seem to also have a bit of gold on them as well. The color has changed a bit to just be all black, where the color changes from red to black, as well as they added the laces to the jersey to kind of replicate those old Blackhawks uniforms from the 60s and 70s. There's not much really to say about this because it's just, like I said, just the regular Blackhawks uniform with just some changes here or there. I don't mind this. At least they didn't change it up completely like the Bruins did. I can't say much else about this uniform. One problem I do have with it is, why does the number on the back have the gold outline but not on the sleeves? I found that a bit weird looking at images online and players wearing them. I thought that was a bit of a weird look. But overall, I can't say much else about this uniform, and to be honest, I don't think it's a bad uniform, but I also don't think it's super or whatnot. I'll probably just have to give this a B rating overall, just to be, you know, neutral about it. So now let's move on to the teams who have released their uniforms over the last couple of weeks leading up into training camp, and we're starting with the brand new Ottawa Senators red third jersey. Now this uniform was leaked in photos from the on ice camera test that they have to do to make sure the jersey works on ice and within the lights and, you know, with the cameras as well. And it kind of got up a bit of reaction from fans. You know, a lot of people like them, a lot of people don't. I mean, that's basically the thing with every jersey that's ever made. And then they teased it again at a season ticket holder event a few months ago, and now just a few weeks ago they fully shown off the jersey with Chris Phillips kind of showing it off to some of the reporters and season ticket holders that were there at the event. To me, I do like this uniform. I think it's sharp. I think it's nice. I do like the bits of gold that were on the uniform as well. I did see something online saying if they just removed the black shoulders, it'd probably be a really good looking jersey, and I'm kind of trying to picture that in my head, and I kind of do agree it would probably look a bit nicer. But I still like this nonetheless. Listen, I've heard from friends of mine, like, it sucks. It's a third jersey. It's not supposed to be a home uniform down the line. Yes, the Sens have done that in the past where they've taken the alternate and make it their home, but it's an alternate for a reason. It's not meant to replace the home, and usually that doesn't really happen in the NHL nowadays. So for a third, to have it pop out, to have it show off, you know, have a bit of style there with the gold, I like it. I think it's good. I'm going to rate this at a low A just because, well, for one, it's my Sens. Number two, I think the red is solid. And number three, the gold is back, so that's a thumbs up for me. So the next jersey on my list can be a video all on its own, and I low-key want to plan this video. It's the Carolina Hurricanes new away. Now, it was rumored a few months ago that they were going to go this route. They were going to make a new away. And I remember hearing that, and the first reaction I had was, why? Why just a new away? It makes zero sense. Carolina has so many uniforms in the last, I could even say decade now almost, that it makes no sense for them to be making a new uniform every 2 years. But that's what they've been doing. Now this uniform, as you see right here on your screen, is a white version of their Stadium Series jersey that they wore a few years ago. Obviously with some changes with the numbers on the arms a bit smaller, right? Because they're not going to be wearing this in a 60,000 seat stadium. My only problem with this, and if you look at their whole set of this year, they have 3 different style of uniform. Now, I don't mind teams having a different home and away, but when you're consistently changing it up and all looks are just different, it just gets annoying to a point as a fan. I'm not a Hurricanes fan, obviously, but if you are, please let me know what you think about this. I'm happy that they brought back the actual logo as the main logo on the jersey, albeit with just it being black and red and not the actual logo. As a non-Hurricanes fan seeing this, I'm upset. Like, it's so annoying because they had a beautiful uniform. They ruined it. They ruined it again. And now they've brought in the actual Hurricane flag that should have been one of their logos a long time ago, made that their home. Basically looks like the Sens uniform now. And then they bumped their old home, which looked actually good, and it was their only good uniform, to their alternate. So I don't know what Carolina is doing. I'm probably going to make a whole rant video about this in a few weeks, or I don't even know when I'm going to do it, but I want to. This jersey, I'm sorry, it's a good looking jersey in my opinion, but please make the home that, or please make another uniform look like that, because it's annoying to see 3 different jerseys, and especially how the range of them, how different they range in styles and stuff. I'm sick of it. Just because of this, they're getting D. I'm sorry. The jersey's all right, but Carolina's ticking me off now. I'm upset. This jersey is a D. So now that I've calmed down, I'm going to go to the Seattle Kraken, who've actually released a really neat uniform. Now, this uniform is supposed to represent like the depths of the sea, I guess, and that's kind of, I guess, where the Kraken lives. But what's really cool about this uniform is that it's actually glow in the dark. And so I'm really interested to see what the team's going to do with this, maybe when they come out onto the ice and whatnot, because this has kind of happened in the NHL before. Everyone remember when Ben Bishop had that glow in the dark mask? I don't know how long ago it's been, but he had one of those. And people were like, oh, that's so cool to see him. But the problem is the lights are only down in the arena when the teams come out, so you really only see it then. So my point is, I think this uniform looks all right. I think it's a good uniform, but how much of the glow in the dark are they actually going to be able to show off to the fans and people watching on TV? That's my only question with this. I'm sure they have a good plan, because I'm sure they've learned from the Ben Bishop mask incident, even though it's not really an incident. I do like this uniform. I think it looks good. I'll just rate it as a B. I don't think it's anything superior, but I also don't think it sucks. So B it is for the Kraken. Now we're off to the United States Capitol with the Washington Capitals' new 3rd jersey. The Screaming Eagle is, they set back. I thought they've had the Screaming Eagle for the last 5 years. But anyways, that's besides the point. But this time, the Screaming Eagles paired up with a red, blue, and white uniform. If you guys remember the reverse retro series that Adidas did a couple of years ago, they had this red, blue, and white Screaming Eagle with that retro 2007's look, which I think looked fantastic. I think this uniform is just solid. I don't think it's anything to, here's my pun, scream about. But I wonder if this is a part of Washington's change. The only change I think I need Washington to make is their home and away. I'm sorry, it's still a Reebok age uniform. They have to change it at some point. Maybe this is a good jumpstart. Bring back the Screaming Eagle. I do wish that the striping on the arms fully matched but was also below the logo as well. But that's just a really small point. And they also paid homage to, the old Capitals jerseys with the white shoulders as well. So this is just an overall solid uniform. I have nothing bad to say about it. I can't wait to see it on the ice. I think it'll probably look great on the ice. I'm actually going to give this one a A on this one. I think it's a very good, solid uniform, and I can't wait to see it. So now we got 2 final uniforms, and both these looks are for centennial seasons, and we are starting with the Detroit Red Wings. Now this uniform pays homage to a lot of different things in Detroit's hockey history. Heck, the Falcons are involved, the Cougars are involved, and as well as that great classic looking winged wheel. And looking at the trailer for this, it looks like it's going to be kind of like that carpety feeling on the logo, which will be absolutely amazing. This jersey, just looking at it, is a very solid centennial look. Where I question it is the leather brown looking captain's patch that Dylan Larkin was wearing in one of the photos, and apparently they're going to wear these with the same type of brownish gloves. I don't think that's good for the look, to be honest with you. Yes, they're trying to bring back the classic feel, with the old style brown gloves and whatnot, but I think that kind of loses the touch on the uniform, especially when you're using that classic red and maybe more of a cream white to just go straight to brown for the captain's patch and the gloves only. I find that a bit weird, to be honest. I think the whole uniform set will look a bit off. To be honest with you, I still think just the solid blank uniform that we're seeing in this photo is still a very solid uniform, and I'm actually going to give this an S. I think it looks beautiful, and I can't wait to see it on the ice. And finally, the New York Rangers are the most recent team to release their centennial uniform, wrapping up all the original 6 teams. This one is the best one I've seen. Hands down, the best. I think it's a classic way to represent an old sweater back from 1926. Now, yes, some people were kind of debating whether the color is goofy or not, because the color kind of looks a bit more retro. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a fantastic touch. If you want a uniform to look classic, why would you want to have a modernized collar like all the other uniforms in the league? Why would you want that? I think having that old retro style looking color is fantastic, and especially the cream white. I think they nailed, along with the ward mark of Rangers. I think they've just nailed this uniform overall. But nonetheless, this is an amazing uniform, and there's only one rating I could really give it, and that is an S. All right, I know I said I was done, but I'm not, because I wrapped up all my recording, and then the Edmonton Oilers dropped their new third uniform. Here it is. Now, this was kind of shown off last week. There's some blurry images, but I really didn't want to put it in this video just because I didn't want it to be like, oh, here's their new uniform, and they never actually came out with it, but they did. So this is it. It's kind of more of that retro style, kind of like we saw with the centennial uniforms. The Oilers are not celebrating their centennial year, obviously, not for a while. So this was just more maybe a throwback look. I kind of like the colors. White as an alternate, especially now with home jerseys being dark, I find having white alternates a bit tough. So this is a bit of an interesting play by the Oilers. I do like the uniform. I like, the classic look to it. This would be a really good look if it was for like a Heritage Classic or a Winter Classic or a Stadium Series game or whatnot. But for just a regular alternate, I don't really know. I kind of wish they did something more with their dark blue color that they had, but nothing close to what they had a couple of years ago with the dark blue and the orange straight up. That was a horrible uniform. I hated that uniform. I just wish they did something maybe more with a darker blue instead of cream white. But still, it's a good jersey in my opinion. If I had to rate it somewhere, I'd probably rate it around an A. I'll rate it an A. So there you have it, boys and girls. There's my rankings for the new and alternate uniforms in the NHL this season. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, whether you like my ranking, whether you hated my ranking, whether you like the uniforms that are new this year, whether you don't. Put them down in the comments down below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you haven't already, and make sure you click the bell to be notified when I make new videos, because like I said, I want to make a video on that Carolina Hurricanes jersey, because it's just, their history has been off over the last 10 years, so I really want to do it. So make sure you click the bell to be notified when that comes out, because I'll probably be working on it over the next couple of weeks. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.